Kicking off the list at number 10. EA6736. Ancient Egyptians worshipped lots of animals. At one point or another, you've heard about how cats were highly respected back then, but they also worshipped other animals as well. It's not just cats, okay? So if you're sitting there looking at Mr. Freckles or whatever, don't give him too much praise, okay? There's other worshipped animals to talk about, like baboons. Believe it or not, baboons. They were pretty important pieces to this ancient puzzle. Egyptians had tattoos of baboons, but the most famous piece of history that we have preserved is in the collections of the British Museum in London. There's a mummy on display, and it looks a little different than the rest. EA6736 was recovered from the Temple of Khans in Luxor, Egypt. This little man here dates back to the New Kingdom period, so anywhere around 1550 BC to 10 BC. So yeah, he's a little old. He looks great for his age though, I mean really. Baboons would appear all over art and religion in ancient Egypt. One of my favorite facts ever has to be that in ancient Egypt, pharaohs would train baboons to make arrests. Yeah, imagine stealing a pair for your family and then 4 baboons start chasing you, doing parkour, jumping over houses. It's crazy. Baboons are so smart. No wonder they worship them, honestly.
Moving on to number 9, we have Diego Garcia, and if you guys are liking this video so far, then make sure to give it a big thumbs up because it really helps us out. Diego Garcia is a US occupied small island in the Indian Ocean. Technically, it's an overseas territory of Great Britain. In 1966, the people on the island were employed as contract farmers. They were working on coconut plantations. But from 1968 to 1973, the farm workers were kicked off the island by the UK government, so that the US/UK military could have a joint base on the island. So in 1966, the United States was given the rights to use the island if they forgot about the $14 million debt that the UK owed them. Now the island is used by government officials and it's highly guarded. In fact, rumor has it that the island is home to a secret prison. Rumor also has it that the Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 that went missing without a trace actually just landed on this island. Not only that, but apparently rumor has it that this base is used by the CIA to torture prisoners. There's some crazy theories out there. I hope one day we'll find out if any of them are true. Then in 2009, the US military evicted several thousand of the island's local residents. Why they did this is still so top secret. Like, they don't know why they got evicted. I really wish we knew. Something fishy is going on over there. Coming in at number 8, we have the Dugway Proving Ground. Located in Utah, the Dugway Proving Ground is the main biological and chemical weapons testing site for the US Army. Like, who knows how many and what kinds of dark deadly weapons they are building and testing there. The base also contains top secret US military research documents, which is one of the reasons why the government doesn't want you to know about it. Now, in 1968, the unbelievable happened at the base. On March 13th, a high-speed jet sprayed 320 gallons of nerve gas VX around the air in a test. This is so deadly that 10 milligrams can kill people. It'll stop your respiratory muscles from working and then you'll just choke to death. Anyways, it sprayed in an area near a farm. The next day, thousands of sheep were found dead. The government denied that this was their fault, but people aren't buying it. Either way, they paid the rancher who lost his sheep over $300,000 and tried to keep the situation hush-hush. So the government definitely doesn't want us to know any of that, but I know it, and I shared it with you. Moving on to number 7, we have Camp Perry. Camp Perry, otherwise called The Farm, is a top secret training facility run by the CIA. The place is used to train CIA officers as well as officers working in the Defense Intelligence Agency. One of the reasons why this place is so secretive is because they don't want the identity of their top secret agents to be leaked. Because then, hello, they wouldn't be secret agents anymore, would they? Now, listen to just how intense this camp is. So former CIA officer Bill Wagner went to a 3-week interrogation course at the farm in 1970. He revealed that the people learning to be good interrogators practiced techniques such as sleep deprivation, mock execution, and would deliberately taint food, which exposes that CIA interrogators use these techniques in real life. Of course, the US government has never formally acknowledged the existence of this camp. although many people know that it's real. Coming in at number 6, we have Area 51. Of course, I had to put this one on the list. Hello, everyone wants to know what the heck is going on at that top secret base. Like, are the rumors true? Do they really have animals hiding there? Are they conducting unethical tests on humans? Area 51 is home to a number of conspiracy theories because it's so highly protected and secretive. Seriously, people have gotten killed for trying to even get close to the building. This has led a lot of people to believe that the military is up to something. What do you think goes on in Area 51? Let me know in the comments below. We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with the Sherman Kent School for Intelligence Analysis. This is a training school in Reston, Virginia for CIA analysts. The school has been given the nickname The Vault because of how many locks and alarms and guards it has. So basically, the school opened in May of 2000, and it apparently teaches members many important things, such as foreign languages, regional studies, satellite image analysis, wiretap transcript analysis, and media report analysis. So basically, everything you think a spy would need to know. This place is basically spy school, which is super cool. Now, like all places on this list, this one is also heavily guarded. It is located on the 2nd floor of a 5-story structure. The glass windows are smoked to prevent people from looking in and spying. The building also contains sensors to prevent eavesdropping from outside. And like I said, it's protected by a number of locks and alarms and surveillance. In our 4th spot, we have MenwithHill. MenwithHill is a Royal Air Force base located in the UK. In fact, it is said to be one of the most secretive places in the UK. First off, the place is super odd. Like, there's a bunch of white domes all over the place that look like giant golf balls. Like, I feel like it's just the government's own mini putt or golfing range or something like that, but it's not. This site is said to be the largest electronic monitoring system on the planet. So basically, it's a place where they spy on us, monitoring our every move. The site first opened to spy on the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Since then, we don't know exactly what they're spying on. But it's a vital part of the NSA surveillance network. In 2012, it was believed that the base was involved in a number of drone attacks. However, this has never been confirmed. On top of that, it was revealed that the NSA used the base to, and I quote, aid a significant number of capture-kill operations. That is terrifying, wow. Moving on to number 3, we have Capistinar. Capistinar is basically Russians' version of Area 51. It is a top-secret base created by the USSR. It was used for developing the Soviet space program. But now, rumor has it that it is home to aliens. Apparently, people saw a large red sphere flying in the sky right above this base. Others claim to have seen 3-eyed aliens wearing silver overalls there. I mean, hey, at least he's stylish. In fact, most alien sightings in Russia occur near this top secret base. Coincidence? I think not. It could be that aliens are trying to escape from this base or something like that. There's even rumors of this base being used to conduct alien autopsies. It's pretty creepy. I don't even want to know if I want to find out what goes on in there. In our 2nd spot, we have the secret super command bunker. Apparently, the Pentagon is planning to build a secret command bunker 3,500 feet under Washington, D.C. What's the purpose of this bunker, you ask? Well, just in case of nuclear war, the bunker will keep people safe from the nukes. Apparently, the pandemic shook the US government, and now they, and I quote, put plans in place to ensure critical elements of the US government can keep functioning in the midst of an extreme crisis. So they're basically gonna be like, sick, every man for themselves, peace out, and then just disappear into this secret bunker. And in our number 1 spot, we have Porton Down. Close to Stonehenge, there's a place called Porton Down, which is basically a massive experimental testing center. It's known for working on chemical and biological weapons, as well as dealing with dangerous pathogens. The stuff that goes on in there is dark, and I mean dark. Starting in 1945, the government began testing nerve gas on real humans. These testings on humans went until 1989. In the end, more than 3,400 people had nerve gas tested on them. In 1953, a man named Ronald Madison died after being subjected to liquid nerve gas. Not only did they lie and say they were no longer testing the gas on humans, but they denied that the nerve gas was the cause of his death. Recently, however, it was discovered that they are now testing this gas and other dangerous weapons on animals. What else goes on in there is unknown. Like, what if they're still running unethical tests on humans? It's crazy.
Starting off this list, in our number 10 spot, we have the Bank of England Gold Vault. Located in London, England, of course, this gold vault is loaded. It's of course the United Kingdom's largest gold vault, and compared to the rest of the world, and what you're about to hear in this list, the London Gold Vault is the second largest in the world. In this chamber of secrets lies around 46 million tons of gold. The door is heavily protected, but even if you had a key or two, it's still not that simple to enter the vault. A sophisticated voice recognition system alongside multiple 3-foot-long keys are the only way you're getting in this vault, should you get in. The bank won't officially say how reinforced the door is or how deep down the actual vault is buried, but what we do know is that the vault has more floor space than a 47-story building, so plenty of room to walk around. You'll just have to be the queen to do so comfortably.
Number 9. Encasinamun. This queen was ruling during the 18th dynasty of Egypt. The pharaoh Akhenaton, this was his daughter. She followed in her father's footsteps and was a great ruler, but she was also the wife and half-brother of one King Tut. Her and King Tut had the same father, but their mothers were different. After King Tut's death, however, it's believed this queen may have married the pharaoh shortly after. And perhaps she's buried near him currently in the Valley of the Monkeys. That's why we can't find her. Back in 2010, DNA testing was being done in tomb KB21, where 2 18th dynasty queens were recovered from that tomb in the Valley of the Kings, but not enough data was found from the mummies, but they do know the DNA is from the 18th dynasty royal bloodline, so we're getting closer. In another tomb though, KB63, numerous coffins were found. One had an imprint of a woman on it, along with jewelry, women's clothing, but the biggest clue really was pottery fragments. Of course. We've all played Assassin's Creed. The truth is in the scenery, my friends. The name Patan was on these pottery fragments, and the only person to ever use this name was the lost queen of Encasinamun. So we're getting close, but let's maybe, stop destroying other graves in the process. Let's try and find a nicer way to do it. Let's keep hers a secret maybe. Number 8, King Ramses VIII. Number 8, the 8th. You know what I'm doing. The last son of Ramses III, King Ramses VIII. He's the 7th pharaoh of the 20th dynasty. King Ramses VIII. Okay, history's confusing with these numbers sometimes, I tell ya. I had to proofread that sentence a few times when scripting this one up. This lost king had the throne for a very short amount of time, and historians are trying to understand why. He was the only pharaoh of the 20th dynasty whose tomb is still out there, somewhere in the Valley of the Kings, just waiting. The thing is, with his ruling being so short, the theory out there is that the tomb of KV19 that belonged to the son of Ramses IX, many believe this tomb was originally built for Ramses VIII, but once he became king, everybody was like, maybe not this guy, Yeah, you're not that guy, pal. Apparently you're not that guy. Apparently you weren't that guy. There is a confirmed tomb that was never used for Ramses VIII as well, tomb QV43 in the Valley of the Queens. Made for him, but never used. The poor souls who had to build these, my gosh. Number 7, Luxor Tomb. We've been saying 2,500 years ago a lot, and don't get me wrong, that's an awful long time ago with all this ancient history. But in 2014, archaeologists discovered a 4,000-year-old tomb from the 11th dynasty. Yeah, it was tucked away in Luxor, Egypt all this time. Spanish archaeologists found a tomb belonging to a leader from the 11th dynasty. It's pretty obvious this was somebody from the royal family or somebody who was a high-ranking official, because at the time, Luxor was the capital city of ancient Egypt. Officials believe this tomb could have been used as a mass grave due to the, large amount of human remains found inside. That's a pretty jarring clue. It's important to note that this tomb had also been used during the 17th dynasty because tools and utensils from later on in that time were also found in this tomb. We're gonna find a spork in 5,000 years and be like, yes, ancient tools for Gogurt. Number 6, the animal tombs. This tomb was found, as you may have guessed, in the Valley of the Kings, like all the great ones here. But this one doesn't sound like the rest. For starters, it's a number rather than a name. What in the Elon Musk is happening here? Whose name was the number? What? Tomb KV50 and KV51 and this one as well all form a group referred to as the animal tombs. Underneath 6 feet of debris, the entrance to these tombs were found. So when we enter a tomb normally that's been untouched, ideally for thousands of years, we can find anything. In fact, whatever they do find, it's a win, I guess. It helps complete this age-long puzzle. So when officials opened KV52 and it was completely empty, that doesn't feel too nice. That's not very warming. It was empty except for 2 boxes, both black and undecorated. The larger of the 2 contained the remains of a monkey, and the smaller one was a chest and it had 4 compartments. Yeah, hauntingly bare compared to what else we have on this list coming up. Number 5. KV 55. Okay, we covered KV 50, 52. They're all one tomb, but they're not. They're separate tombs. What's going on here? This one was discovered right next to King Tut's tomb. And the reason we call this tomb by a number rather than a name is because, well, we don't know who it was made for, really. The classic, what happened, you know? Even the walls of the tomb inside, they're empty. They aren't covered with any hieroglyphs. There's no artwork. There isn't any clothing laying around, no jewelry. It's quite odd. It's just simply bare. As you walk down the 20 steps towards KV 55, you'll notice only a few markings on the entrance. Markings that show that the entrance was once widened since it was first cut, along with its ceiling being raised slightly higher. So adjustments were made at some point. This wasn't a forgotten project by any means. The only hint as to who or what is buried here is remains on the walls. One hieroglyph was found in 1907. One hieroglyph, that's it. And it translates to, "The evil one shall not live again." Okay, so we should leave this alone, right? Yeah, you agree? Hit that thumbs up if you agree. I feel like we agree. Number 4. Mahor curse. The walls of some of these tombs have warnings from the gods. One warning trespassers that the gods will wring their neck like that of a goose. That's a pretty good warning. I don't know. If I walked into somebody's property now and it said trespassers' necks will be wrung out like a goose, I'd turn around. You got me. You don't need a beware of dog sign. We're all set with that. You don't need to be an ancient god to get that message across. Just don't break into people's stuff. Don't steal stuff. Inside the found tomb of Mahor, a pharaoh official from 4,000 years ago, a curse was written on the walls. It was buried in Mastaba. It was an above-ground massive tomb, and this warning was the first thing you saw. "Might do against this, my tomb, the same shall be done to your property." It also warns of Mahor's knowledge of secret spells and magic, and it threatens to fill impure intruders with a fear of seeing ghosts. Again, there's that or beware of dog. You can pick which one you want to put in front of your building. What's more impactful for your property? You decide. Number 3, 2020 tombs. 2020, okay, while most of the world was stuck inside watching documentaries, more than 100 sealed coffins were found. And yes, this time they were occupied. Gross. Found, of course, in Saqqara, Egypt, Egyptian archaeologists have never been more excited, which is a weird thing to say after what I just said. Maybe we'll find the body of Cleopatra. Wouldn't that just be dandy, I guess? The fact that we found over 100 of these still in great shape is mind-blowing. It's actually pretty awesome. Grave robbers have been around since ancient Egyptian days, and for all these to be untouched for this long, that's good. This is great. I'm glad we found it instead of, pirates. The findings date back to 712 BC, which was a period where Egypt was controlled by foreign civilizations, like Persians or Greeks. The idea that we're finding mummies is great and all, but again, do we really need to open them up? Do we need to find Alexander the Great this badly? Like, what is he? It's gonna be bones. It's gonna be goop. Like, we're willing to disrespect this many souls in the process. It's kind of ironic. I don't know. Number 2. Black Tomb. We found a mysterious black granite tomb in Alexandria back in 2018. I remember this trending because I made several Brendan Fraser jokes on Twitter. Yeah, a lot of mummy talk happening that weekend. Things got real when the cousin of antiquities minister opened it up. Yeah, we just opened up a mysterious black granite tomb just because we're curious cats. When archaeologists found this massive untouched tomb, untouched for over 2,000 years, might I add. On one hand, that's a feat in itself, historical, great, discovery, awesome. But us humans, we have to just open it up and take a peek and just smell whatever's inside. Let's just do that, I guess. Maybe it's Alexander the Great, who knows? Egyptian news outlet El Watan reported that the tomb was lifted only a few centimeters before every official involved at the construction site fled the scene. They straight up ran away, it smelled that bad. Mustafa Waziri, Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Antiquities, the guy put his entire head in the tomb to make sure that it's safe. I mean, or you could just do this with your hand. That works. Why your head? Like, just do one of these. I mean, I get it. The guy's OG. Nothing ended up happening, I think. I don't know. Number 1. King Tut. One of the greatest mysteries is, of course, the history of the young King Tut. Really young. Younger than you might think. The young boy became pharaoh at age 9 in 1332 BC. During his time ruling, the young king had to face a country in conflict. It wasn't exactly a chill time. At this point, Egypt and Nubia were going head to head over land, and not even 10 years into ruling, the young pharaoh died at age 18. It wasn't until 1922 until he was seen again. Howard Carter discovered the tomb of the lost king, appropriately, as you would have guessed, in the Valley of the Kings. This is where we could have been more careful, historically. When King Tut was discovered, they tried to move his body out of the oil that was coating the coffin after this long. But in doing so, they damaged him. They were too rough. They were too excited with this, old ass dude. So now it's next to impossible to tell what really took his life at such an early age. Yeah, we kind of blew it. We have some ideas though. It's not entirely hopeless. It's believed that King Tut had a broken leg. After some 3D scans were done, it appears the king may have not been in the best shape prior. He may have fallen off a chariot and then simply just cracked his leg and that's how he died. So if Tut passed at an early age out of nowhere, who was that tomb he was buried in really meant for? Some suggest the tomb was built for the lost queen, Queen Nefertiti, but again, still trying to figure this one out because we haven't found her yet. The former antiquities minister doesn't believe this at all. He strongly stands by his belief that the lost queen was one of the female mummies found in the Valley of the Kings. Tut passed away at 19, so many believe his own burial chamber wasn't even done being built yet, so they just threw him in hers. How rude is that? History is pretty rude. I don't know. If I can sum up history, I'd say it's rude. Yeah, that's a fair word. We still haven't found her final resting place, but with the aid of technology and 3D scans, I have a feeling we're getting pretty close.
Starting off this countdown, we have the NSA spy hubs. We all know that the NSA is spying on us, okay? That's old news. I mean, in 2013, former contractor for the CIA, Edward Snowden, revealed that the NSA was collecting phone records of millions of Americans and spying on us through our phone calls. Well, it turns out they have multiple top secret bases. Half of them, we don't even know where they're located. We just know that they're out there. Somewhere. These spy hubs are often windowless skyscrapers. There are some in Atlanta, Dallas, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York City, San Francisco, Seattle, and of course, Washington, D.C. These buildings, though, aren't regular buildings. No, of course not. They are highly secure and guarded. In fact, they are built to withstand terrorist attacks, nuclear attacks, and natural disasters. So not only do we not know where they're located, we don't know what they're doing in all of these hubs, besides spying on American citizens. So you better behave. They're watching. Always watching.
In our number 9 spot today, we have the Hard Rock Vault. We'll switch it up a bit for this next one here. The Hard Rock Vault, you would assume, holds a fine collection of gems or minerals. Hard Rock Vault, of course, there's some diamonds in there, right? Well, maybe Neil Diamond, if anything. The Hard Rock Vault first opened in 2001 and it holds hundreds of priceless musical treasures. Anything legendary in the form of music, you'll find it over here. Jimi Hendrix' Flying V, John Lennon's handwritten lyrics, and artifacts we don't even know about. It's of course below London's Hard Rock Cafe, but that building used to be Coutts Bank. Before the building was rebranded, this vault used to hold the Queen's treasury. Now it's got John Lennon lyrics. In our number 8 spot today, we have Granite Mountain. Don't let its name fool you, Granite Mountain is much more exciting than it sounds. Since the mid-60s, Granite Mountain has secured the Mormon Church's genealogical library. Of course, like every great vault, it has to be buried. This library is buried 600 feet beneath the mountain, where it holds roughly 3.5 billion images or microfilms. The documents, agreements, archives, you name it, they all come from libraries and churches from more than 100 countries. So yeah, there's a good chance somebody you know has a record hidden deep within Granite Mountain. Let's just hope they don't have your recently deleted photos. Fingers crossed! The facility is also protected by armed guards as well as a 13-ton nuclear blast-resistant door. In our number 7 spot today, we have the London Silver Vaults. Everybody's always talking about gold. Well, there's other vaults too. Okay? Burl's Ives sang about silver and gold, not just gold. Both are beautiful. England's Silver Vault may not be hidden underground, but the vault has actually survived a world war. During World War II, the bank around the vault was reduced to rubble after an overhead strike. Nothing was left from the bank except this vault. Not even a war can open this one up. Historically, we have numerous reasons to trust this one. Back in 1957, the same type of vault was used as part of a US nuclear test in Nevada. Turns out not even a 37 kiloton nuke can bust these secrets open. In our number 6 spot today, we have Fort Knox. Located in Kentucky, USA, this vault really is the jackpot. One of the most heavily guarded places on the planet. The amount of gold in here will blow your mind. Fort Knox is home to a large amount of the United States gold reserves. Thing is, even if you work here, you're still not getting into Harry Potter's vault of treasure here. Each staff member knows only a part of the full combination, so you can't heist your way in with good work friends. Rumor has it there's actually no gold in here though. Rumor has it instead that this is where they study extraterrestrials. Another rumor is that the United States actually sold off all of the gold and they don't want anybody to know. In our number 5 spot today, we have the New York Federal Reserve. Far below the streets of Manhattan, next to the Ninja Turtles themselves, sits a vault so impenetrable it's been entrusted to more amounts of gold than the previous entry on this list. Security is of course pretty tight, so don't even think about pulling a national treasure. Human beings can't even operate here. just robots. That's right, if you want an up-close look for yourself, you better become a cyborg. Pallets of gold are moved around only by a team of robots. And on the outside, it certainly doesn't look like an easy entry. Expert marksmen watch the perimeters at all times. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Vatican Archives. The Vatican secret archives are no joke. The archives themselves are 53 miles long, and there's around 35,000 volumes of catalog. They're very real, but in order to see them for yourself, it's gonna take some time. The indexes aren't public. Only scholars can access them after they're 75 years old, so bit of a waiting game. Their official purpose is to house wholly official paperwork, and of course it's a treasure trove of anything and everything related to the Pope. It's full of ancient documents, like say, a letter from Mary Queen of Scots herself. Mary was eventually sentenced to death for conspiring to kill Queen Elizabeth I, but before she met her fate on February 8, 1587, she wrote a letter to Pope Sixtus V, literally begging for her life. That exact letter is one of the many secrets lurking in the Vatican Archives. In our number 3 spot today, we have the third secret. When it comes to hidden documents in the archives, we have to mention a few. This thing is chock full of ancient secrets. Do you really blame me? One of these secrets is the literal third secret of Fatima. It all began in 1917 when 3 children from Portugal received prophecies. They were visited by the Virgin Mary 6 times. The apparition is known as Our Lady of Fatima. The Virgin Mary told them 3 secrets. The first secret was a vision of the underworld, of hell, that was revealed July 13, 1917. The second secret was a statement about World War I ending, as well as a prediction of another war during the reign of Pope Pius XI, should Russia not convert and should men continue offending God. The third secret Lucia chose not to disclose in her memoir in 1943. It was written down later on and delivered to Rome in 1957. The third secret was about the 20th century persecution of Christians that came together in the failed killing of Pope John Paul II that was attempted on May 13, 1981, which was the 64th anniversary of the first apparition. Many believe the third secret is still unknown and the answers lie in the Vatican. So far, many believe the third secret has something to do with nuclear wars and natural disaster. No spoilers here. In our number 2 spot today, we have the Svalbard Vault. Over the pandemic, I spent a lot of time playing video games, and some of my favorite games always have a similar theme. They have this post-apocalyptic feel. I'm looking at you, Last of Us 2. There's shelters with survivors or even vaults. It's stressful, but really engaging. In real life, we have the Global Seed Vault, and it's deep in the Arctic Circle on the island Spitsbergen, and it's this massive bunker that has since been deemed the Doomsday Vault. This is where humans will store food crops. It contains 100 million seeds, so if the Earth all of a sudden gets wiped out, or even if all of the ice melts, this vault will still be good to go. All that water that's just flooded the rest of the humanity will regrow the Earth. It sounds like a fun, cute way to get humans to think about the future, but I'm concerned. In our number 1 spot today, we have WikiLeaks. When it comes to these massive websites, specifically streaming sites, companies need to have a home base for their servers. We're in a studio in Toronto, we get to work, we clock in, we clock out, we have servers here that run the show behind the scenes. A lot of fans moving around in this building, keeping everything cool and operating smoothly. Thing is, we're part of YouTube, not WikiLeaks, so we don't need to set up camp in an underground secure vault. Whereas a company like WikiLeaks, they need to keep their resources locked down. This is the same company responsible for leaking army field reports from 2004. In Stockholm, buried 100 feet below the street level, is an old nuclear bunker. Today, it's a facility owned by Swedish internet provider Bahnhof, which is where they keep each and every server for WikiLeaks. Julian Assange, frontrunner for this whole operation, he keeps his hard drive in this secure vault. He keeps it behind a 2-foot steel door accompanied by numerous backup generators, so you're not getting through any firewall. Like I mentioned, in October 2010, WikiLeaks published Army field reports from 2004, and it is now one of the biggest leaks in United States history. This report confirmed that there were over 66,000 civilian deaths in the Iraq war logs out of the 109,000 in total. This leak also suggested that some American troops were classifying civilians as enemies in their statistics. These numbers were from 2004 to 2009. Sometimes these vaults hold the secret to Coca-Cola, and sometimes they hold dark secrets surrounding the troops.